adults can learn to be more childlike, life gets better.
I need to go back as that child in order to find joy and love because I was feeling off.
It's time that you resign as manager of the universe. Lead with love in whatever you do.
And you start feeling it. Very powerful. Welcome to the Alex Perry on Fire podcast. Today's guest, I'm already smiling, and it's not
good.
It's just it's the way you're in the room. It's your energy. It's felt. But what I can tell, and even just talking already, is you embody a lot of what season 3 of our podcast is about.
Yeah,
and it's living kind of within your source, what your authenticity, what makes you feel alive.
You got it.
And you don't always have that to start. You
Mm-hmm.
find it and then taking a chance.
Yes.
And making that change and then seeing what that looks like. I mean, we will, as an audience, we will see and feel and hear what Jim Cosgrove represents.
Yeah.
Who you are and how you got there. So welcome to the Alex Perry on Fire podcast.
It's an honor to be here. And it's a joy to meet you in person. Yeah.
Talk to me and the audience about the journey to where you are right now, where it started, because it was on the business side and you're still in business, but it's very different.
It is very different. Yeah. I started my career as a journalist and in public relations as well. And I had a corporate PR job. I was in management and they were slapping me on the back saying, Jimmy, you're going places, and looking up the corporate ladder. And I worked as a writer and editor for Hallmark Cards as well, another big corporation. And all that time, I would look up that corporate ladder and think, you know what? I don't see much up there that is authentically me. I felt like I could do it. They had faith in me, and I absolutely could have pursued that. But something in here said, there's something else. There's something bigger. And so I took a series of leaps of faith. And when I realized that I had the talent to do other things, I leapt. And I was first writing. It was freelance writing. And then just on a whim, I fell into the music business. And I know that's kind of weird to say it was a whim, but it totally was. A friend of mine asked, she knew I played the guitar and sang some songs. And she said, hey, she got a job at Barnes & Noble. And she was in charge of hiring people coming in. And she's like, can you bring your guitar down and sing for some kids on Saturday morning? And I thought, sure. But I've never done that before, but okay. And I did. And some parents came up to me and said, hey, do you have a CD or something? Do you have an album, any music? And I thought, no, never occurred to me. So I got together with some friends of mine, recorded an album, got in a garage studio. We just thought, hey, let's put out an album of music, and for kicks. We just totally did it for kicks. And people liked it, and it sold. I got more live gigs, and then people wanted another album. And so there started my career. Now, there's a whole lot of little steps and nudges along the way that led to it, but that's how I fell into entertaining families.
Yeah, and going from one profession, the corporate ladder, to music, and you said that, it was a bunch of leap of faiths.
Yeah, you bet.
So what was the first leap of faith that just said, this is, you kind of said it, but we've all felt maybe a little calling or not like our job, but we haven't moved on. And I've also talked on this show about maybe not necessarily that huge leap right off the bat, but kind of, a little bit of movement into something that just feels more heartfelt.
So I was working for a telecommunications company, and I was the media spokesman for one of their local telephone companies in East Tennessee. And again, I was wearing suits to work. I was on camera. I was doing media interviews, and I was good at it. I just wasn't filling my soul. It wasn't bringing me all that much joy. I liked the people I worked with. All of those pieces were fine. And again, like I said, I looked up the ladder and I thought, I don't know that I want my that to be my legacy, I guess. So I said, you know what? Thank you. I didn't burn any bridges or anything, but I said, hey, this has been a great experience. I'm going to resign. And I left on good terms. If you ever want to come back, come back. And I said, okay, I don't know that I will, but thank you. And I moved back to New Mexico where I had lived years prior. And I slept on a friend of mine's couch, and I got a job at the Albuquerque Journal as a staff writer. And I decided to go back to school and get a master's in creative nonfiction writing because I liked it. Now, people will, and you may have experienced this in life, people will always tell you or ask you questions based on their own fears. Like, well, what are you going to do with that kind of a degree? Well, is that going to make you any money? I said, I don't know if it's going to make me money or not, but this is what I want to do. It brings me joy and happiness. And I believe that will then pay off, right? So I eventually ended up writing, went back to school, and picked up the guitar, taught myself some chords on the guitar, and started pursuing, just joy in life,
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up taking the leap out of corporate America. But then there were other series of, I don't know how deeply you want me to go into all this stuff.
Well, I
but
want
anyway.
to go deep because because it led to more of something that's now more prevalent in what you do, which is working with, I would say adults, but trying to find, we've talked about on the show, inner child and play.
Yes, you got it.
Either through music, but I think that's your forum for it.
Yes. After working with kids and families for years, I realized kids, man, they have the secret, if you call it a secret, it's not really a secret, but they have the prescription for joy and success in life. So the more I spent time with kids, and now I'm in my 28th year making music for families, and I have had a chance to travel and perform all over the United States. My band and I have had a chance to play for kids in Germany and Italy and England, Spain, Canada, a couple times at the White House Easter egg roll in the mid 2000s. And everywhere I go, no matter the culture, no matter the socioeconomic conditions, kids are kids. And I watched them and I listened to them. And then eventually my wife and I had our own children, and then it became a whole nother experience. But they know joy, right? And I thought, okay, how can we capture that? And I started to learn from them. And as I learned from them, I thought, hey, I could use this. Other adults could use this. So I started working with adults, and people started asking me to come speak to their groups. Like, hey, tell us about this. So now I found myself going around speaking to corporations or organizations about being childlike, not childish, but childlike. And I think as adults can learn to be more childlike, life truly gets better. I know when I allow myself to be childlike, and it's not always, right? I'm not always childlike, but when I do, I'm a better parent. I'm a better musician. I'm a better friend. Things go a lot more smoothly. Yeah.
Yeah. When I've said this, so much of my work, but when you're working on yourself and where you learn things, and it's hard. We talked about it just prior to even getting on the show, just the difficultness of the world. I've said, let's get back to play.
Yeah.
How do we get back to play? But also what I've learned is it's not that easy, right? Because in your head, you can say, okay, let's go play. And as you get to be a grown up, you can even book events to play.
Right.
You can elevate the events to play and make it easier on you and have you, have it as simple as it gets and be in control almost.
Yes.
But a lot of play is not being in control.
Oh, absolutely. The best play is not organized, not in control, letting it unfold as it goes, right? So it's a mindset. I think it's got to start with mindset, as most things do. Awareness, like, this is something that I need. And then it's a choice. You make a choice to do it. And what is it? What do you do to play?
I mean, it's a great question. I love hanging out with my friends. I like sports. I like watching sports.
Yes.
I love my dogs.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
talk about joy.
Yeah, and
dogs.
I talk to my dogs.
Yes,
I even
absolutely.
have voices for my dogs.
That's great. Yeah.
I ask them how their day was when I pick them up from daycare.
Yep.
I ask
if
their friends were there to the people at daycare. That's kind of like my childish version of like being silly, right? But like society kind of, okay, is that right? Because it's with animals. I don't have kids, right? I think kids a lot of times will bring in that play because you like you said, you're seeing it. When you see it, it's a little bit easier to like get lost in that.
True.
That play.
But same with, I have a big 90-pound mutt, and same thing. Pure joy. That dog is present. It loves me regardless of what happens now or what happened yesterday. Forgives me. He is pure joy, right? And pure love. So I get that. That's having that as an outlet.
What would you say? Because a lot of this I've talked about, you come up in your head and you say, okay, I want to play.
Yeah.
Or I want to change, or I want to work less with like real work and go into something more that fulfills me, right?
Yes.
And I think so much of that is the brain, right? And there's some awareness with that.
Yes.
And what I found is that through that, though, you can kind of loop because the brain's super powerful and it can make decisions to go on a vacation for a week or go to a concert or hear someone speak. But going into here and understanding why you've given up play so much or why you may not deserve play, right?
Yeah.
I think I deal with that personally. And I think a lot of the inner child work, which I'd like to get into a little bit so the audience kind of understands what that is, because for me, that meant nothing. I didn't understand what that meant.
Right.
But what's kind of the process of saying, all right, in a simplistic, you could listen to this. The audience can listen to this saying, all right, let's go book play, right? We all want to play. Who doesn't want to play? Play's fun. But putting that into your everyday life and embodying it is just so different.
Yeah. I would say the first is to stop, right? Step off whatever roller coaster we get on, and everybody's on their own brand of a roller coaster, right? Stop, step off, take a deep breath. Breathing is, as you know, through yoga, through your practice, very important. And for me, it connects to the divine. It connects to the breath is what makes us, part of what differentiates us from the other animals is that our breath actually propels and gives us our voice, right? And so that, for me, words are very important, and intention of those words is very important. So breathing, pausing, turning off the TV, turning off your news feed, and getting still and going inside and listening. And it's hard. Man, it is hard. The first time you can last a nanosecond and then be distracted. It takes practice. That's all. Little by little, getting quiet, listening to the child within. Just listening to your heart, really. I say, I think maybe we get hung up on the word child, but whatever's inside you, and listen to what you need. What do I need in this situation? And for me, that's a place where we can start being childlike, because kids, when you are around them and see them, and if you can think back to your own childhood, they're very present. They have no concept. They've forgotten the past, right? And they have little concept of the future. You can tell them, hey, we're going to grandma's next week. I don't even know what next week means. Is that, but they're right here, right now, which is where life happens, right? It's right here, right now, this conversation, this is what we've got. This is what's happening. And they're always there.
2 years ago or 3 years ago, whether it's me or someone in the audience who can resonate with this, is like, I want to go back into my childhood.
Right.
I don't necessarily think my childhood was that fun. And the fun, the points that were fun, I don't necessarily want to go back there, right? Like, yeah, being a child sounds fun and play sounds fun, but if I were being honest, I'm not talking about myself, but someone who's listening.
Oh, yeah. I've met that.
You know, maybe 20% was fun, and that 20% is really hard for me to remember. And that 80%, guess what? That's in the back door, right?
Right.
And
Totally.
so why would I want to go do that? And yet I've been robbed of my childhood. I don't know what play is. I know what play is now for me, which is grown-up play. And I've figured that out. And they have been robbed of their play, right? And play is so important, and it's hard to go back there, but it's so important to go back there, right? I would sit here and tell you, for myself and my work, like I need to go back and learn how to play as that child in order to find joy and love and true happiness. So what's the response to that?
Yeah, you bet. And I receive that. I see it in their eyes. People tell me that. Sure. I say, don't go back then, go here. Go right here and now and be present here. Because it's not always necessary to go back and try and relive something, but to get the feeling of what that was or it might have been for some people, but it's that feeling that we want, right? So I can get it now. I don't have to go back to anything. I can create it now. It for me, and I see it in other people, as wonder and appreciation, gratitude. Be in a state of gratitude, like grateful. Just tell me one thing you're thankful for right now. Just look around. You know, I'm grateful to be here right now with you. I have a friend of mine. He would always say, "This is the best time that I've ever had because this is right here and right now. This is the best time I've ever had because it's the only time I have." So, the way to get present and experience now the feelings like we talked about earlier is to get still and quiet, get into nature, and observe even other people. I tell you, I got on a plane years ago and I still think of this kid I saw I don't know if you remember on Southwest Airlines, they used to have those seats that face backwards, right inside the front. They would face the other way. So you'd have three people you'd be looking at the people across from you. And I would grab that seat sometimes because it was usually open and it was closest to the door. So I'd pop in there and sit in there. So I was sitting across from this kid. Parents were here. And he was, I don't know, he's probably 5 years old. First time on a plane. And he was like, kind of nervous, like, time. And then when we started the jets fired up and you're rolling down the runway and it's picking up speed, he was like, and as soon as it lifted into the air, he was like, ah! I was like, whoa, right on. I want that. I want what that kid has. What does that kid have? He's had wonder and experience. So seriously, almost every time I get on a plane, I think of that kid. So like yesterday, coming down here, I chose a window seat. I'm going to sit by the window and I'm just going to sit. And I looked out the window and I thought, wow, this is a miracle, man. I am sitting in a metal tube, 27,000 feet in the air, going 575 miles an hour. And there are clouds and there's farmland. And that's a miracle, man. So see the miracles, like, wow. That was a wonder moment for now. That didn't require me to go back to anything, but just to be present and have wonder in the present. And it was a lesson I learned from that kid.
Yeah, and I think the gratitude is huge in that. You know, you can just sit in a room and just start rambling off what you're grateful for. Just boom, grateful for this, grateful for this, grateful. That'll slow you down, and that will put you in the present. And that can be the form of maybe what we're talking about. I did a walk the other day with a friend and she taught me this. What are we grateful for? And we had to keep going until and you're rooting them on and then you say, what I'm loving the feeling of this. And then 5 years from now, I'm going to be excited that I did this. And then the last thing was like, you do a rap song of what you're feeling, which makes you a little bit vulnerable.
That is great. Vulnerable is where it's at, man.
Yeah. And,
you got to be vulnerable.
I did it by myself after her, like 2 days later, because I was feeling off. Like I'll sit here and tell you, there was something off. I wasn't feeling good. It was,
love that.
I'm like, all right, let's do the work. Right. It's like, do you want to do it when that's happening? No, you don't. Right. Like you don't, you're like, why would I want to do that? Like, it's easy to talk about gratitude when you're great, when you're sitting in this chair feeling great. All right, let's go talk about gratitude. When you don't feel good, or something's off, that's where I'm
Yes.
not ignorant anymore to that, right? I used to be the energy in the room and, and blah, blah, blah. Like, we got this, let's go and love and blah, blah. Why you sad? And it's
why affirmations are great, but they don't always work.
Exactly.
Right?
I was about to say it works sometimes, and sometimes you just need to shut up, sit with it, and then do some hard work or just, go out of a different way. And I was just super naive to that.
And feel it, right? And feel that. So I will say kids do the same thing. It's built into their mechanism. Kids emote. They're constantly emoting. They'll throw a temper tantrum because when they're angry, when they're frustrated, when they're sad, cry. Depending on how long it goes, whatever. Half an hour later, they don't even remember they did it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they felt it and then they moved on.
Yeah. My brother yesterday called me and said, I'm angry. I said, good.
Good.
Keep going at that. I said, anger is a good emotion for you. You haven't been angry in a little bit. Just get angry. I got angry 3 days ago and I was like,
yep.
All right.
Sit with it.
Anger is actually a good emotion for me.
Where's it come from?
Yeah.
You bet. I had a spiritual advisor who would do this. I'd come to him sometime like, I'm really pissed off. Good. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Sit with it. Okay. Then he'd say, oh, can you feel it in your body? Where is it in your body? It's like right here. Big. What color is it? And it's a black. What is it hard? Is it soft? It's like a bunch of wire and I got to get it out. Okay. Yeah. Feel it. Okay. Now go in and get it out. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a great place to be, is right here, because that's all we've got. And then from that present awareness and absorbing into the present moment comes wonder. Wonder is a great thing we can practice every day. It really is play. It is, man, looking at like, what is, looking at something in front of you, a microphone, being curious about stuff. I don't know if when you were a kid, did you ever just like watch an ant carry a piece of dirt across the ground for?
Yeah. Well, I think where I got distorted too is, and I've done some of this work, is someone asked me, they're like, do you connect? Do you connect with nature? Do you connect with things? Or when was the last time you really connected? And I always thought of connecting with people, right?
Yes.
But the things you just described aren't connecting with people. And I was like, no, not really. And then I started thinking, I said, well, I really love when as I told you, I pick up my dogs.
Yes.
Or when I wake up in the morning and they're ready to be fed. Or when I go on a walk and I notice the bees in the pollen or little things. And someone told me, that's you connecting. That's you.
Absolutely.
That's you actually kind of playing. It's you being observant. It's you being curious. And through my life and the go mentality and the let's go and keep going, I lost that. I think a lot of people lose it, but I've 1000% lost it. I mean, to the point where I was like, is something wrong with me because I don't even see nature anymore?
Right.
I don't feel nature. I don't see nature. Right. Someone's like, this is a beautiful sunset. I'm like, and I wish I could feel that. And they're like, this pasture is just gorgeous, or this field. And I'm like, but it's exactly what you just said. I wasn't slowing down.
Right.
Yesterday, I went and looked at a property that overlooked White Rock Lake. I sat in a rocking chair out front for a couple minutes. I never would have done that.
Right.
And I was just like.
And did you imagine yourself like, if this were my home?
Yeah.
I'd be sitting here with a cup of coffee in the morning, or whatever.
Yeah. And just, or said, if I got dropped off here and I didn't know where I dropped off, where am I in the world?
Yeah. Right.
The idea of slowing down, because I think what you're saying makes sense when you've practiced it. For someone who hasn't practiced it, it's extremely hard to think about going and being a little kid again.
Yes.
And it's almost embarrassing. For me, it was like, well, inner child, I don't know what it looks like to be, want me to go back to my 10-year-old version? Fine, but I don't know what that means.
Right.
And also, I don't really I'm really at the place where I've got to go back and look at myself as an 8, 10, 12-year-old. And then also
and that might be comfortable for some people, right? I don't.
Well, mine was uncomfortable. So, again, you make it out and that's a comfortable place. Mine actually wasn't comfortable even to this day. What I'm trying to do is that 10-year-old boy is there, but he's got voices.
Right.
I'm stealing, like Brene Brown calls them, shame gremlins. And so it reminded me of that. But I call them the gremlins who are like, work harder.
Yes.
Do more.
Right.
go to this party, vacation like this. Why aren't you at this restaurant?
Right.
Why aren't you? And the little boy is like
trying to keep up and
or scared, right? So
scared.
instead of like playing and being happy, he's like,
huh?
Okay. And I became a master at listening to them or blocking them. Really good.
Sure. You bet. Yes. And I think everybody has a version of that, right? The whatever family unit we had growing up, we came with certain prescribed, this is how you do it. And those gremlins, right? And so I get that for some people it's frightening, it is traumatic to go back to that, right? So that's why I start with now. I mean, you can be childlike in a childlike state without necessarily going back, but just being present and channeling presence. Presence is being childlike. Being here and now is being childlike. And if through practice, you may end up starting to have memories like, oh, you know what? That time with my brother where we had that moment where we were playing, I don't know, a memory pops up that's like, all right, yeah, now that's the kid that I want to be. I'll give you an example. So when I was, my dad took a picture of me on a ride. It was a carnival ride. And it was one of those spinny carnival rides. And it was a black and white picture. And my head is thrown back in laughter. I'm like 6 years old or something. It's a black and white photo. I found it and I'm like, this is the kid. That whatever is going on in that picture, because I don't remember, of course, the moment, but that's who I want to remember. So my wife took that picture, framed it, and put it up in our office. And it's there as a reminder. And I look up, I'm like, okay, that's the kid I want to be.
Because you do so much of this child work, I imagine you've gone back and envisioned yourself as Jim.
Yes.
Child. What age? What does he look like?
It's good. And there are a couple of things. So there are some, I will call them traumatic moments and some happy moments. Sometimes when I go back, one will show up, and that's okay. Regardless of which one shows up, I'll sit with it. And that was the one where I was on the carnival ride. Was that one pops up as, because I have a picture of that reminds me. I honestly don't remember the moment, but I remember the feeling. The other is a moment where I felt like I was something was unfair, and I was wrongfully accused of something going on in our house. Well, when you've got 8 kids, there's constant chaos going on, and someone gets blamed for stuff. And there was that sense that, but that wasn't me. It was some, that kind of thing. And so I'm like, okay, what was happening there? It wasn't a happy moment, but it was that kid. My little kid sometimes feels injustice and wants justice to be served. And I'm like, okay, so what does that kid need? You know what? That kid needs to be reminded that, yeah, I see that. I see the injustice too. And come here, you need a hug. Now, what does that kid need? And I often literally will be like, all right, you're good. It's all good.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the work to kind of make him, to soothe that kid.
Yes. To soothe that kid. Yeah.
Because
so
that's
how
what's
about
coming
you?
out.
I mean, who were you as a child?
The work that I've done, I go back, I must be 8 or 10 or, in between that age.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm not sad. I'm curious. I'm kind of, like giving. I'm just kind of out there. I'm by myself, and what I'm working on is I kind of said it. I think now I've got all these other grown-ups kind of yelling at this kid. This kid's like, what do you want from me? Like, I'm giving you everything.
Right.
So the work that you just said is a little bit of having someone kind of hug that kid and say, you're okay. Like,
Yeah.
And some of the work is telling also the voices just go away, back off.
Yeah.
And It's tough. It's tough work. The inner child work is tough because I also have my twin brother with me. Because I'm a twin, sometimes he's with me. We were very close, and there's work to also say, look, hey, bro, you can go have your fun. I'll be okay, and I can go have my fun, and we'll be okay because we're so joined
together all the time, right?
So it's difficult practice for me, and the inner child work is not fun work for me. I mean, it's not. It's just not fun. It's not like, oh yeah, let's go play in the inner child work. But I like to think of that boy as just a young, curious boy who wants to give everything he has to everybody. My mom said I used to pick up rocks on walking in the wilderness, and she said, why were you picking up rocks? I'm like, because I want to give them to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, so I had a pocket full of rocks.
Right. Give them to the neighbors.
That's who I feel like that's who I am now. So I want to embrace that. So I was showing houses to a basketball player, and there was a trampoline. And the first thing he does is he goes and he runs on the trampoline. Now I'm scared he's going to go twist his ankle. Sure. And now I'm like, oh. You know.
Right.
But that's what was so incredible to me was he was just being a kid.
Yep.
He's jumping on the trampoline, doing flips.
Right.
Not a worry.
Nope.
They could get injured. And I remember that. And then so now when I see an opportunity, like yesterday I was showing a house and there was a arcade game that what is it with it's
Pac-Man or something. Or
yeah, no, it's where you pull it and the balls go everywhere, and I'm not even thinking about it. I mean, that's why I can't even
skee-ball?
Pinball.
Pinball, okay.
Pinball. It was pinball.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God, I love pinball.
She loves playing
so
pinball.
I pushed it, and in front of the owner and everything, I'm like, guys, give me a second. I want to play pinball.
There you go. Taking a moment.
Or if it's, or if it's anything that just reminds you of being young. Kicking a soccer ball when it's in the field, throwing a football, whatever it may be, you know.
Got it.
And so
for me, it's writing every time I go to the grocery store. If I've got a cart and bringing it back, I'll get on it and ride it down the parking lot just because it's like I can just get a running start, hop on the back, and woo. It's that simple.
It is every time someone's mopping a floor or there's water on the floor, I act like I'm falling.
Yeah,
and
right.
The person always laughs, and it's so dumb.
Right.
But it's the idea of taking the pressure off the moment.
Sure.
Or of what's going on and saying.
And what you've just done there is not taking things too seriously, which I think is a big part was certainly for me, was reminding myself that there's nothing serious going on here. There are very few things that are personal. Like, don't take things personally, and don't take myself too seriously. So that's what you do in those situations, and it kind of creates a little air where you eliciting a smile from someone or a laugh, and what a great gift that is to give to somebody.
100%,
and yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You're connecting. Yeah. It's in the slightest way, and I remember doing an exercise with my spiritual therapist, but she asked me, she's like, where do you feel like you want to connect that you're not connecting? And it's like, well, I feel like everyone's on their phone or they're disconnected. Mm-hmm. And so from that, I said, well, I'll take an opportunity not to be that way. So when I get in the elevator, I'm not on my phone. When I walk into a building, when I check out at the grocery store, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
Because then that's giving you that opportunity for something you love to get mirrored.
Right. Do you ever, and I do this sometimes when I get on an elevator, walk in and just stand there and face everybody? Because people get on the elevator, turn around and face the door, right? So I will often just stand there and be like, hi. People get nervous and they look down, and, occasionally you'll get someone who'll be like, hey, right on, dude, whatever, but just those little things. And that's being here and now, right? It's not trying to recapture maybe something from a childhood, but what it does though is you get a feeling of like, oh, wait a second, that is what's being childlike. And we have we just rattled off several examples we can do today. You can start today doing it. When I'm speaking with groups, I will go through some of the things we can do. Smiling is one of them. I mean, you kind of even I did it yesterday in the airport. When I go. Sometimes I just put a smile on and I will walk, and it is amazing what happens. I got to Love Field yesterday, and there were like 3 other people in the entire terminal of thousands who were actually smiling. But when we smile and other people see it, what happens?
They smile.
Boom.
Or it just softens it. I say that. I walk on the trail every day.
Yeah.
And when I smile, and I love to smile.
Yeah.
But like when I'm smiling and looking at I love animals and dogs, but I just think every dog has its own persona, and this I can envision what their voice may
connect
be, or
with
whatever.
the owners, and
and it's and I smile, and when you smile, A, you feel better,
sure,
but B, you're putting out that energy that then it can be received. Like, we're walking on a trail,
right,
in Dallas, in a safe space. Like, I don't want to like tell someone how they should be feeling, but it does make a difference. It does make a difference.
Yeah, and I think it tells the other person that I see you, for one. I mean, that's a huge thing.
Well,
I see you.
I was about to go into that. We did Elizabeth Jordan, who's the Human Impact, who talks about homeless people, and so much of it is they just want to be seen.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's different with any other person.
Without a doubt.
It's not homeless. It's the idea that you're seen. I think a lot of our insecurities, including mine in the seat right now, are you seen, and do you feel safe?
Yeah.
And get those 2 out of the way.
Yep.
And everything kind of calms down a little bit.
You got it.
As you said, you're talking with these groups, and when you say groups, are these, high-powered business people, or what?
I have ended up, I think one of the very first gigs I got was from a software company that makes software for the rock quarry and gravel pit industry. Got a random email. Hey, we're having a users conference. Would you come and speak to our group? And I thought, do you have the right guy? Like, have you been to my website? I'm a kids entertainer. Like, how did you? They reached out to me. And I thought, so I contacted them. They're like, oh, yeah. It's a boring, dry conference. We're going to be talking about software. We need something to lighten it up a little bit. And I thought, okay, I'm in. Let's do it. What are you after? How can I help you? And we need to remind people that this can be fun. And I said, I'm all on board with that. So that's kind of where it started. Because I work a lot with educators and librarians. I do a lot of educator conferences and librarians. But I have spoken with organizations like companies, a company that made scales, the board of a private university in the Midwest asked me to come speak to their annual board meeting. So a lot of people, I don't know if you've mentioned this yet, but they know me as Mr. Stinky Feet. That is the name I use as a kids entertainer. And it's not a name I made up either. So my first album was a dinosaur-based album, so I was known as the Dinosaur Guy. My second album was titled Stinky Feet, and I have a song called Stinky Feet. It's about my family and about my brother and my sister, and they've got stinky feet. So kids started calling me Stinky Feet. And I was like, hey, wait a second. I was at a school doing a show, and I was walking in the hall, and all these kids were like, hey, Stinky Feet, yo, Stinky Feet. I was like, hey, wait a second, man, that's Mr. Stinky Feet, Sounds a little bit more respectable, right? But it stuck. The name stuck. And I love it because it's not something I marketed. It's not something I did a focus group on. It just came organically from the kids. And I'm like, all right. Now, a lot of people found it, kind of low brow. I remember early on in my career, I was doing a show. I think it was in Virginia somewhere, and it was a theater. And the theater owner was a little reticent about putting Mr. Stinky Feet up on the marquee. Like, it's kind of like, I'm like, okay, tell me this. If you're driving down the street and you're passing your theater and it says Jim Cosgrove this Saturday, or it says Mr. Stinky Feet this Saturday, which one is going to give you a double take? Or are you going to stop and like, what's that about? So he's like, okay, he got it. He put it up and he's like, yeah, I'm glad I did. So, and I always tell people too, with a name like Mr. Stinky Feet, it's hard to take myself seriously all the time, right? I just don't take myself too seriously.
Yeah.
And that's a gift that the kids gave me. So I don't know why I was telling you that story.
Well, it's because I was saying when you talk to two different
yes.
groups of people,
right?
What are they wanting out of?
Yeah. So sometimes they're like, I'm not sure, what is this Stinky Feet stuff? I'm not sure about. But really, when, regardless of the audience, it's like whatever you do, whoever you are, whatever your focus is if when we can allow ourselves to be more childlike, we get better and more successful at what we do. Because kids are very successful because they live in the present. They don't, and they don't dwell on. I mean, when I talk about the past, that's where resentment lives. For me, typically, if we're dwelling on the past, that's where some resentment lives, right? If we're focused on the future, that is riddled with fear, usually, where we're anticipating something. And so it's like, I don't want resentment. I don't want to live in fear either. So I'm going to live right here. So that's the gift they give. And regardless of what you do or where you are, this can help you. And it may take some people longer to get there than others. Some people are right on board like, oh yeah, I'm with you. I see light bulbs go on. Sometimes I don't, and that's okay. That's fine. People are going to receive it as they will. But it lands well with people. That just the concept, they get it. Like, okay. When we are present with the people in our lives, we are better salespeople, right? What you do is a gift, right? What you do as a realtor, you are helping people. You're connecting with people. You're helping people solve problems. You're helping them achieve dreams, right? It's a great gift, man. And you are better at it when you're present, right?
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Hey, number one, if you want to be more successful and more productive at what you do, there you go. That's the payoff for being more childlike. When I am more childlike, I connect better with my daughters who are now 21 and 18. I connect better with my partner when I am present. So it helps my personal relationships as well. Am I there all the time? No. You ask my wife. No, I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders sometimes, And she's always like, oh, people come up to her and say, oh, you live with Mr. Stinky Feet. It must be a laugh all the time. Nah, not always. But when I choose to be, it gets better. So people get that.
For sure. And I think, for someone who's listening, it's like, okay, because there's so much pressure, and it's like, I would just say from my learning, which I've gone through this,
sure.
And, my brother even said, we talked inner child, and I was like, this didn't make sense to me.
Right.
It made sense from the work he was doing, because when you go for treatment or when you are with professionals, they're going to say, okay,
right,
let's go and do inner child work. And even then that's not easy work, and it's quite confusing to begin with. You almost fall into inner child as opposed to going into inner child.
Yeah. Right.
We kind of said it, but to almost reiterate it, the first step is slowing down.
You got it.
Just slowing down, because where I go into fear, which is the future, which is actually, it's because things are moving too fast.
Right.
They're literally moving too fast.
Right.
And why you said breath is because the breath forces you to slow down.
It
literally forces you to slow
does.
down. So rather than getting ahead of ourselves, there's things like, and I said yoga. Someone sent me yoga. It wasn't a yoga exercise. It actually wasn't exercise. It was actually just breathing and being like this. So it doesn't have to be, okay, I got to go to a gym.
No.
Or do something like that. But it's slowing down.
Right.
We talked about this, but it's kind of being aware, right?
Sure.
So what's the first thing, or what's something that comes to mind that I really enjoyed when I was younger, or that makes me smile, that I could bring into my life rather easily?
Yes.
Right? Like pretty easily. That also isn't fear-based, right?
Right. So if the childhood was traumatic or something, that might not be a place, it might be traumatic to go back there. But is there something that can help me feel like maybe something I missed when I was a child? What I wanted to do was just play catch with my dad or something. So, okay, so get a friend and, throw the football around, throw the baseball around. Whatever. You can have that now. If in fact you felt like there was something.
Well, then
I'm not a psychologist.
No.
I'm not, but
Well, I think then the icing is when you're doing it, because I've failed in this too. You got to be present.
Totally.
So it's then the idea, okay, now I'm doing it.
And not expecting an outcome too. Like, okay, if I do this, I'm going to get better. No, just do it and see what happens.
Yeah. Right? And then compassion, almost like you just said, it doesn't click right away. No. It's not like, oh, I just figured out the secret to the world and now I'm fine and everything's good. It's a start.
Yeah.
Because I think when you've lost, there's plenty of people listening who might play more than anything.
Sure.
Good for you. Great.
Keep it up. Keep it up.
Don't lose it. Right.
Right.
And for the ones who've lost it, and I think, when I say lost it, it's more of like, we do lose it. We get in this grind of life and the social norms of trying to achieve. And then this is my opinion, but we mask play, right? We mask it with, working out or overworking, or again, I said it to you, the trips were like, well, this is play. I used to say, I play.
Yeah, I play.
I play all the time. I go to nice vacations and I play.
Right.
Not really.
Right. When I became a musician full time, one of my musician buddies said, "Jim, what do you do for fun or a hobby?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm living my best life. I'm playing music. That is as fun as it gets." He said, "Yeah, it used to be your hobby. Now it's your career. Now what do you do aside from that?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, I hadn't thought about it like that." And for me, in my opinion, we're not here to get stuff done. We're not in this life to accumulate accolades or to accomplish things, although that's accomplishment is great, right? I mean, that's not why we're here. I believe we're here to love and to experience joy, plain and simple. And now that's easy, I think, for some people than others, depending on your circumstances. I understand as an aging white male in this society that I have certain privileges that other people don't. I'm keenly aware of that, and how and what a blessing that has been. I get that. I also think that we can have joy regardless of our circumstances, and you see it all the time. We can choose joy, and it is a choice, regardless of the loss of a loved one, the loss of our youthful figures, our loss of hair. I mean, we can have joy regardless of what's going on. And the reason I know this is you see resilience in the spirit of humans throughout history, right? I look at, if you've ever seen from the concentration camps, from the Holocaust, you see examples of people who wrote poetry, beautiful poetry, drew pictures, in some of the most horrific circumstances you could ever imagine. They chose to create something beautiful, or they chose to create something joy as a survival technique, but regardless, they did it. You know what I mean? And I think, okay, it doesn't depend on our circumstances. It's not saying it is easy, but you can still find the joy. And for me, that has been my thing every day, even when I'm sitting in some darkness, and we talked about earlier, just sitting with it. Okay. And where are the moments of glimpses of the divine? And the divine is everywhere, particularly in nature for me. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And almost backtracking into why you chose to kind of go this route.
Yeah.
And you said sit in darkness. Was there darkness in this that now have shown you this light from the work that you're doing now? And do you still see that? I mean, what is the darkness?
So ego, self-doubt, creeps into all of us, right? So from the get-go, I was the imposter, right? Like, what do I know about, one, I taught myself to play the guitar. What do I know about music? What do I know about, who am I? I'm not an artist. I'm not, there's that, right? We have that self-doubt. And then, am I doing the right thing? I remember early in my career, it was shortly after I was married, and I was doing some shows. Every year I would go east and kind of work. I'm from Kansas City, so we work out from there, but I would go east every spring and kind of spend several weeks working the East Coast and come back across the upper Midwest. But I was in this small town in Troutville, Virginia. I was in this little motel, and I was sitting there thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I'm away from my new wife. is this even making a difference? Am I making a difference? Like what? So I had one of those moments like, okay, God, universe, send me a sign. Well, I mean, let me know what I'm doing. And so I went to bed. I set the alarm on the little clock radio on the table next to me. And when the clock radio went off in the morning, the song that was playing was The Who, Won't Get Fooled Again. And the line that was playing as soon as I woke up was, pick up my guitar and play, just like yesterday. Then I get on my knees and pray that I won't get fooled again. And I thought, all right,
let's go.
Right on, let's go. I'm going to pick up my guitar and play, and I'm not going to look back.
It's wild for you to say that. We had a guest on, Aaron Lazar, who battling ALS, but that's not what he talks about. Is the signs from the universe.
Yes,
and just listening and source.
Yes,
and you're sitting here.
Yeah.
You know, I've you're saying the same thing in a different way, and I'm.
Yeah.
That's my work too. Is believing in faith and whatever it is, God, the universe, whatever it is that you're, and saying, okay, it will, if I'm awake and aware, it'll show me signs. And what it did as I listened to you is it took you out of this field that didn't talk to you, that didn't resonate with you, that as much money or wherever you got wasn't going to make you happy. It moved you here. You sit here today, light, bright. Yes. I mean, not to say there's not darkness, because everyone's got some.
Oh yeah.
But in a place that is, it feels purposeful, right? It feels like you're doing work that was your calling,
right? Exactly, without a doubt.
And you took the leap of faith without knowing, right?
Right. No. Yeah. Without a lot of times. Yeah. Without knowing. I mean, it's blind, and I will say something that helped me, and as actually I kind of came back to this recently because I was listening to a different podcast, about breath and about breathing, and I mentioned it earlier that it's what drives our speech, right? Breath drives our speech. We need breath to make our vocal cords work, but that breath is our connection to the divine, whatever the divine is for you, right? And the word breath in Greek is the same word for spirit, pneuma. And it is the word that's used in the Christian Bible, New Testament. It is the same word for Holy Spirit. They use the word pneuma as the word for Holy Spirit. And so, how many times a day do we breathe? Every time we're breathing in the Spirit, whatever that means to you. And it's driving us. It's keeping us alive. And the word inspire, it means to be in spirit, to breathe into. It means to breathe into, to be breathed into, actually, and a lot of times by exterior or divine sources. So I think every time I take a breath, I'm connected to the universe. Every time I take a breath, it's driving me. And so when I'm conscious of that, it's like, okay, right. So let that be the driver and help me. That's something I do. Start now. Start breathing and be conscious of the breath now. And there's so many examples, man. I used to work on the Navajo Nation when I lived in New Mexico. When I got out of college, I worked as taught high school journalism at a little school in the Navajo Nation. And the Navajos have this beautiful tradition where the person who can make a child laugh for the first time has the honor of throwing this party. It's called a laughing ceremony, or first laugh ceremony or something like that, where they cook this big feast and they celebrate the child's first laugh. And it's an honor for the person, whether, a family member or a friend or whatever, I got the baby to laugh. And they honor the laugh of a child. Like that is like and for them spiritually, it is a sign that the child has fully moved from the spirit world into the physical world, because it's a transition. If you ever get the chance to be around an infant or newborn, fully connected, I always tell people they're closer to the source. Kids are closer to the source than we are, because they are literally, they're just fresh out of the spirit world into the present world, into the physical world. I love that tradition with the Navajos. Like, oh, right on. Celebrate laughter.
As kids, we're just open to everything, to the awe of the universe.
Right. It's all new and wonderful, all of it.
And yet, at the same time, we probably have no idea what spirituality is and what that is in our life or where that's going to take us.
Not here.
Yeah.
But they know it here.
What's it like in your profession to kind of bring that back to the surface? Because you are asking people to go back to their childhood.
Yes.
And by doing that, you're asking for both, unless that wall is up. And if that wall's up, then there's an element of saying, let's take that down.
Sure.
And it's scary. And a lot of time people avoid that.
Right. And I mean, to be clear, I'm not a therapist. I'm not even trained in the psychological aspects of that. I am anecdotal, and I work, I witness what, and my own experiences. So certainly if I've got someone in a situation, in a presentation where you could nah, I'm not, okay, I get it. I'm not going to force you to do anything you're not going to want to do or anything like that. And I'm not trained to guide you through that. But there are certain things that will trigger things you may not even have remembered or thought about. And a great example yesterday with Patrick, your producer, who I've known for a long time, since he was actually, I remember the day he was born. Patrick was what, you were 3, 4, something like that, probably. Yeah. So when his sister Rachel died, and she was 10 months old, I believe, when she died. And there was I wrote a song about her, and I came down to a dedication for the garden in her memory that they put at their church. And I sang this song as part of that ceremony. And I was staying with them, and I had a moment with Patrick. He was in his bunk bed, and I was talking to him about Rachel, and he said, "Oh, yeah, she's right. She's here." And I said, "Oh, she's here right now." "Oh, yeah, she's here, and she's here all the time." And I talk to her. I talk to her all the time. Very matter of fact about it. It was just not even duh. Of course, she's here, and I talked to her, and yeah, there was kind of just the matter of factness of it, but also the comfort. And the way he was expressing it was like, whoa, right on, dude. And why? Because he at 4 was closer to the source than you and I are, and still had that connection and still had that bit. Well, I told him that story last night. He said, I'd never heard that before. I don't, of course, remember it. And it helped or connected something, sparked something in him for that memory to come back, right? And
I love it so much, only for the fact that it's like we're programmed at an older age to say that's not possible. Oh, you can't feel that. You can't say, and it's such bullshit, because as someone with a super conscious or no predispositions or something, it's like, well, why can't I? Why can't I feel this? Why can't, I mean, this hits me hard, and I love it. It's like, we're talking about energy.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about souls and presence, and it's like angels and guides, and
yes. It's all energy.
Just open your eyes. Open your eyes. What puts you in this room right here, right now? We don't know. There's a reason. Put
absolutely
Patrick in that seat, and everyone, and and that's being present. That's being present, and it's that just hits home.
And what's cool about it, in my own experience now, I mean, not everybody has this, but once you start feeling that energy and recognizing it in others and feeling it, you recognize it more and more. You see it more and more. You feel it. I can see it in people's eyes as I'm passing them on the street. I can see it in an audience. The kid, I was at a school last week. There were 2 kids right in the front row who I could just tell something was going on, man. All the other kids were like into it. They were, they just were not even sure. They kept looking around like, what am I supposed to buy them? Like, and I just had such empathy and compassion for them because I could feel what was going on.
Oh, you're aware. Yeah.
Totally.
Do you find from working with different children in different regions that like, does the US have, some sort of, I don't want to say like problem, but like, do you see us doing things differently? I tend to think like it doesn't, a child just wants the same thing anywhere in the world.
Exactly right. Kids are kids. I mean, and you're right. They all want the same thing.
But I feel from living in this society, I mean, I'm talking to friends who are worried about where their 1-year-old's going to get into school and then what soccer team they're going to be on or what team they're going to be on or what. And it just feels like not only for the parents, it feels like a pressure cooker from the kids from the second they're born. And
you got it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not my jam.
Yeah.
And we did not raise our children like that. So, I mean, but I see it, I get it. And we got caught up in our own stuff. I mean, it's hard not to get, if you're in the stream of mainstream American culture, you're going to get sucked into that stuff. But
yeah. And I think from looking at, when you're doing this work and because we're talking about so much child and you're kind of going back into grown-ups,
right,
to child and doing this, it's kind of like this, you're kind of weaving between both.
Right.
And someone said this to me, and I think it helps because it gives you compassion for yourself, is that some stuff we weren't taught, right? So like, I don't know if I was taught how to heal a certain way when things happened as a child.
Right. Right.
When a traumatic events, I was talking to my mom about this and she looks at traumatic events as these big, huge events. And I'm like, well, that's your definition that you came up with, it wrong or right. But they aren't always this devastating event. It could be being made fun of in school or, it could be a little breakup or someone pointing out something on you those are all little things that add up. And for the most part, the way I was raised, and I think a lot of people was like, push on or move on. And
get over it.
Exactly. And I think in time, maybe sometimes that's why we lose some of our playfulness is it's like, all right, move on, push on, ignore this. And it's almost if you dealt with it. And I wonder if in different societies, it's held differently and seen differently. And there's more community around it that allows for you to stay a child longer because there's just more community. So as there's more community, we play and dance and do more activities because that's the nature of it, where I feel like, maybe in our society, it's almost like on the next, on the next, on the next, on the next.
I mean, you just brought up a great example that I thought of. The first trip I took to Honduras, and I did some traveling when I was younger in Central America, but the first trip I took, I was 16. So all I cared about was getting my driver's license and dating girls. And, but I went and I was just blown away by the experience of being, at the time, Honduras was like the second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And being in these villages and these communities where people, by our standards, quote unquote, had nothing, right? But they worked hard. They would do everything by hand, grind the corn, make the masa to make the tortillas, to you work in the fields. But what struck me was, regardless of all the intense labor they've done during the day, they always took time in the evening to sit on the porch or out front of their space and get together and laugh and sing, break out a guitar, and that communal thing. And I thought, this is joy right here, right? Do I see that where I'm from? Not so much. I mean, sometimes, depending on whatever the tradition is, right? I'm from a big Irish Catholic family. I'm the youngest of 8 children. It was chaos in our house a lot, just because we had that many kids in the house. But I learned about community. I learned about sharing. I learned about getting by with and being grateful for what you do have, and you might have to throw an elbow every now and then to get what you think you need or want. But it taught me about community.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit, was also like grounding, right? You said like some people don't ground for a year if you live in a city, right? And it's, I just think as you say that, like for the audience listening who has kids or even themselves, it's like, where are you putting yourself in a position ground, or just to see some of these things that we're talking about.
Right. Touch the earth.
Yeah. And then decide, how you want to go about it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's almost, that's the slowing down. That's the breath. That's the community. That's the getting lost in, my definition of play is getting lost in time. That's
Absolutely.
my definition.
Right on.
Yep. If I'm lost in time, I'm playing.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care where I'm at.
Maybe you're writing at the computer. Maybe you're drawing something. Maybe you're just walking.
Yeah. And this is play. I mean, again, I love that when I get on the podcast, if it goes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, right? It's play because I'm not even wearing a watch.
I don't wear a watch.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and so I think to simplify it, try and find those ways, and then for you. And then also I think for the kids, right? For your kids, I mean, I don't have kids, but like is to remind them of that, because then once it's lost, it's harder to find, right? I mean, that's what I would think, as long as we keep our play. And some people do an incredible job. I envy some of my friends who are like, I'm on 4 soccer leagues and we're playing ice hockey at 12 o'clock at night. And like, you're honoring, for the most part, your play. You're making a conscious decision to choose. A lot of people don't want to go at 10 o'clock at night to go do something.
I don't. Yeah, right.
It's not my jam. Play an instrument, commit to a sport, whatever it may be. Right. And those are little things, but they can grow from there.
Well, okay. So you mentioned grounding, right? So literally getting into nature, wherever you happen to live, find a great patch of grass or earth, and literally touch it. I mean, because there are studies, right? Your body discharges energy, negative energy, when you ground, when you literally touch the ground. And you said you go barefoot quite often, right? And which is a great way to do it. So I make a practice now, and my chiropractor always reminds me to do it. Yeah, I make my kids, even when it's snowing outside and where we live, and go out and touch the earth every day. And I do make it a point to do that. But as kids, man, we were playing outside all the time, right? We were connected to the earth. We didn't know. That's just what we did.
Yeah.
But yes, people can live in a city and never touch the earth for years. I come down from my high rise in the elevator and get into my car in the garage, and I come out of the garage. I drive to work on the pavement, and I get to work in the parking lot, and I walk. I'm not touching the earth ever. I mean, go on for years and not touch the earth. And we're not even aware of it, right? When it's like, I see a tree. Yeah, but, are you connecting with it?
No, and you lose that in whatever.
Like in a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And just a little bit of seeing something can then, it's like momentum, right?
Yes.
You look for the next, and you look for the next, and it fills you.
Yeah.
It fills you. So I love that. No, go ahead.
Well, I got this question for you. So have you found things in your life that you feel like weren't feeding you, and that you cut out? Like you realize, like, oh, wow, this is not anything, a habit, anything that.
Yeah. I got caught up in not creating time for things that I wanted.
Yeah.
So I would say that it became, everything was in an internal clock to keep moving, to get done, to go to the next, And then I found like a workaround. So the mind is so powerful.
Yes, indeed.
So powerful. So I would find things that would trick me to say, well, I'm getting my time, or this is for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't in space. It was still chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself waking up at 4 a.m. so that there was an hour of silence where I would just, be downstairs, be on my computer, listening to, watching TV. And that was my favorite. I don't want to say it was my favorite hour of the day, because I like people and I like, but it was just the quietest. And then I'd go work out at 5:30, and I would joke and say, look, if they had the 4:30 workout class, I'd do the 4:30. And I thought that made me special.
Right.
So I thought that made me special to myself and to others to say, look, I can get up at 4:30.
4:30.
I'll work all day. Yeah, I'll work out, and then I'll go to grind all day. And then, I'll put on this persona of, well, I'm still doing other stuff. So it's like, well, then he has no life. No, I'm still going to dinners or going out and blah.
Right.
It worked. you know, I wouldn't go back.
Right.
The problem is, or the issue with it is, I've said it, there's consequences from it, right? So I
Absolutely.
lost touch with connection. I lost touch, I think, with what was more important to me and what is important to me. And so I think I worked around it. So what I did
Yeah.
is I kind of just said, look, let's just work and work. And you're 30 years old, or you're 32, or you're 28. You can, 50, you'll relax.
Right.
And I think that you see a lot of people do that. And then when they get to 45 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or whatever, maybe they're like, oh, fuck. Like, for what or what? And I
didn't
think
relax.
the beauty that I'm finding right now is that's the past.
Yeah.
And it got me to sitting right here with
Right.
you today in the present.
Right. Right.
And now I'm aware of what I want. And now I'm aware of what I was lacking. And now I'm aware of what's really important, and connecting and seeing things and show, you said it, love.
Yeah.
I mean, I said love, my twin brother and I did, heart.
Mhm.
And I did a podcast with my brother, one of the first podcasts I ever did. And he asked me for like 3 words. And I said, I'm going to shock you right now. And one of the words that I'm going to use is love. And it was shocking. It was shocking to me, because we're so subconscious, right? But it is love, right? It is so much love. It is
Right.
literally
Everything.
It's everything, and it's the power, and it's 100%. And it makes me emotional just thinking about it. But it's the key. It's so proverbial, and it's almost like it starts with love and love for yourself, and it's true. It's so true. And through so many things in life, great if you had the perfect childhood and everything, and good, and you don't have to fight some of those things. And if you do, it's going to be, there's work to it. But it is. It's all about love, and showering people with love, showering yourself with love, showering your kids with love, showering your dogs with love, showering nature with love. Right. It's just that it's not that complicated.
No.
We complicate it. And, but I also get why we complicate it.
Well, it's the ego. It's the human part of it. Every spirit, and you know this from your journey, every spiritual tradition ever on this planet boils down to love. The main tenet of every spiritual religious tradition is love. Everything people say God is love. It is, the universe is love. And it is. And to me, that, and when I talk with adults, the first point I make is love. Lead with love in whatever you do. And I have a great example. I worked with a guy when I was at Hallmark who was a sculptor. He'd been there for like 40 years. He made the ornament. He was one of the many artists who made the Christmas ornaments. And every year his ornaments, out of hundreds that they put out, every year they put out 400 to 700 new Christmas ornaments every year. His were always in the top 5. The ones that he made, they were in the top 5 of sales of ornaments. And I talked to him one time about his process, and he had something he was working on his desk, and he goes, Jim, I put love, and he did this. I put love into every piece I make. It's all about love for me. And okay, that you might be like, oh, woo-woo, artist kind of guy putting love into everything he's done. Well, guess what? He made that company a lot of money because he put love into that. And it's no surprise that they were in the top 5 of sales every year.
Yeah.
Consistently, year after year after year. His were in the top. And I think it's absolutely, he chose to be love. You talk about team members who choose team members, whatever, if it's in a business or in a sport team, if you love your team, you're going to have their backs. You're going to look out for them, right? I mean, flying Southwest Airlines, I know it says that they fly into Love Field and then they got the heart. Okay, but I sense when I'm using their product that there is a whole lot of love in there, because a lot of these people seem to enjoy their jobs compared to other airlines that I fly.
Yeah.
It's baked into their ethos. Is that happenstance? No, man, I don't know if it was a legit choice at the time, but.
Well, think about it.
So,
how you'd rather be around someone who loves themselves, like you could sit with them all day long, and in a non-egoic way, you'd be like, this is just comfortable, right?
You got it.
100%. I go back to Aaron, who was just on the podcast, and it's like, he's like, just shower me with love.
Yes.
Think of me with love. He's
Right.
like, that's the power, right? I'm not telling you to feel sorry for me. I'm not even telling you to believe. He's just, give me that love, put that out there and see how that affects.
Right.
And it's powerful. It's super powerful.
It is. And I tell you what, some of the most amazing moments I have as a performer, I finish every show with a love song, and I invite families to come up. So I bring kids up on stage with me during the show, and we put bands together and play bands. But at the end, I invite the adults to come up too. Or kids, go get an adult you came with and bring them up here. And we stand together. And I have a point in this song where I'm like, okay, kids, look at your grown-up you came with. Make eye contact, and I want you to sing to him. Sing, I love you, I love you, I love you. And sometimes it's magical. Sometimes, like, you could say, it never gets old for me. You could say that all day long. And then I say, okay, you know what we're going to do here? We created all this love here at this show today, in this room, in this theater, wherever. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this love, or when you have a lot of love, what do you got to do with it? Share it, spread it around, give it to the world. So I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to send love to the world. Everybody tilt your heads back. And we're going to sing, I love you, I love you, I love you, up into the sky as loudly as you can. And we play along. I love you, I love you. All these voices going, let's do it again, louder. I love you. And just what that does for yourself. But we're actually, I believe, sending that love to the world that needs it. Man, the world needs a lot of love, right?
I agree. And from someone who didn't use the word love a lot, and I've said that, and even there was love, but didn't use it, it becomes more comfortable to say it.
Totally.
I say it now almost, I tell my friends when I'm getting them off the phone now that I love them. I tell my parents.
Good for you, man. That's great.
I tell my dogs. It was super uncomfortable.
Yep.
Until it now became comfortable. So if you had told me,
it was a choice.
In one of your concerts to start singing, I love you. No offense, but I would have been like
mouthing the words, right? Of course. Yep. And I get that.
But eventually, and you start feeling it, and you start, and guess what? When I tell my friends, my dogs, the people I love them. I love them.
Yeah.
I love them, right?
Good.
Like I do. And when you lose people, which, that can happen at any point.
Yeah, right.
You want to make sure that you've expressed your feelings to them. So it's very powerful. It's extremely powerful.
Yeah. And it's helped me with compassion towards people I don't particularly see eye to eye with, or have conflict with, or, I would do this sometimes in meetings. I would look around and I would picture each of the people around the table in corporate meetings as kids. Like, yeah, I can see her as a 6-year-old. Okay, yeah, right. Him, I get. Okay, you can kind of you can picture him as a child. It would help me this is why they're acting that way.
Yes,
I get it. They're still trying to please their father. They're still trying to, whatever, get attention.
I think once you get super comfortable with yourself,
yeah,
all that just becomes easy. It's just people piss you off, things come up, but you're like,
in traffic, I love you, and
yeah. The only thing I had to be careful about that is, I did some work where I was like, love and light to everybody, love and light, and not everyone wants love and light.
No,
not everyone wants all the love, know, and some people are, I learned this with some other people too, and even myself. It's like when you're struggling, or there's darkness, and when I say darkness, you're in a sad place, or things aren't going well, or you can't see in the world. It's like someone saying, "Relax," It's like, and so there is a little bit of a massage you got to do, and that's just awareness, and also going through it, and there's
totally. You just reminded me of something. You asked about a dark period in my life, so and I got some advice from somebody at the time. I was 30 years old. I was living in New Mexico. I'd moved back to Kansas City to work on my master's thesis, and I was heavily involved in this thing. And I had just come off of working corporate, and I got an infection. I got strep, but the strep throat, the strep moved to the pericardial sac around my heart. So I had a heart infection. Literally, my heart was infected, right? And I went to the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack. And they said, oh, you've had a heart attack. But then they went in and found out, oh, no, it was actually this very serious infection of your heart. We're going to have to keep you in the hospital for a few days. And the doc said, look, the only thing that could have brought this, I mean, for somebody like you, 30, healthy, what's seemingly healthy, was an immense amount of stress in your life. So he said, here's what I recommend. For the next at least 3 weeks, I don't want you to talk to anybody that gets you riled up. I don't want you to watch the news. I don't want you to read newspapers. As a journalist, I felt like it was my duty. I would read 2-3 newspapers if I get my hands on them every day. I would listen to the news, radio news at the top of the hour. It was like, that was my duty, right? No, I don't want any of that. So difficult for me. And then a friend of mine during that time, he came over to visit. He said, Jim, it's time that you resign as manager of the universe. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm good at it. I'm really good at managing the universe, you know? No. And that moment, I mean, just the fact that I had a heart infection, my heart was infected. It was like, dude, you need to heal your heart.
Well, the universe, I've worked with some spiritual leaders who say that illness is a sign to say, you got to stop. Like that's kind of the last straw.
Yeah.
Even Aaron with ALS, but I even think about like some of my journey,
yes.
You know, it's brought on by like illness or you're lucky if you figure it out before it becomes an illness that actually overtakes you.
Right. Exactly.
I told I'm working with the guy, a guest told me to work with. I picked up the phone. I'm working with him. My first call, I said, man, the last 9 months has been so brutally hard. And he goes, well, don't be upset because if you didn't do it, it would have shown up in the form of an illness. I'm like, you're right.
Exactly right.
And I'm like, or at least I've gone through it. So there are the signs, and if you're conscious, it was showing you and to the point where it said, okay, I'm going to attack your heart.
Yes.
To say, you've got to stop this.
Right.
And some people go right back around, and guess what? It'll get shown again and again and again in this loop, and that's their life, and that's fine. But yeah, it's the signs. Isn't that wild to say, look, I'm going to teach you, and it almost to the point where it broke your pattern. It forced you to break the pattern, right?
Absolutely. Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild what things will show you, and it goes deep, but you were chosen for this. Yeah. I mean, right? Like that's the choice. The truth is, this is my belief is that you were chosen to do what you're doing. The message you're giving and creating is what you were chosen for, and you came to that, and you probably why you feel the way you do and live the way you live, and seem to be living a life of love and joy, which is, I think, what all we want, right? At the end of the day, I mean, it'll come with some other stuff, but like, that's
I think that's why we're here.
That's
without a doubt. And I have been fortunate and blessed to have a partner who is on board with that. And she has taught me time and time again about slowing down and being childlike and being present. When I'm not, she will pull me because she loves to play. She's always about play. Because as a kid, she always wanted people to play with her. And so she'll say, let's go play this scoop game and this catch game in the backyard. She wants to play that, or ping pong, or let's just play a board game, and wants to play all the time. And I get it. I get why she wants that. She wanted, did not want our dog at first, but she really wanted the dog. And she told me why. As a child, her parents got her a dog and she fell in love with it, but they didn't like it and they sent it back like 4 days later, and it totally shattered her. And she said, when she explained that to me, I realized, oh, this is so much deeper. You need this dog to be that child again. And so despite my preference, let's get the dog because it's important for you, and that you have this connection and a childhood connection. And it's been great. The dog's been awesome.
Yeah, I love that. And you, as for the audience and others thinking, like, sometimes the thing you avoid is what you wanted, right? So you're like, oh, I don't want to play board games. Why? Because, you had a bad experience or you didn't get to play board games. But the truth is you really want to, right? And so it's okay to test that and see and go back. That's what's kind of going back into inner child in different ways, is just being honest with yourself and the things that you truly want that maybe you're protecting against for some odd reason.
Right.
This has been incredible. We donate to a charity of choice. for each guest. So please let us know what charity you'd like us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will give that some thought.
Okay.
I so appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, absolute pleasure.
Total joy.
Loved it. Loved every part of it.
Thank you for letting me play
I
today.
loved it. I played with you. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Alex Perry on Fire. It means so much to me and the wonderful team that makes this all possible. I'm now passing the flame to you. Please follow, like, and subscribe so you can always stay up to date. Thanks again, and stay fired up.